Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. So, today is day 2 for the HIV series on Inappropriate Radio. Don't come over here judging me. Yes, I look like this. It's freezing where I am. And I put my friend's head on, and I'm cool. You don't judge me? Goodbye. Okay? So today is, like I said, day 2 of the HIV series, and we're just going to discuss a little connection. We're going to make the primary and the initial connection between HIV and spirituality. Now, I know, like, first of all, a lot of times, like, when I get a download or like communication from the Most High and the angels, I'm like dumbfounded, okay? And you're gonna see me looking over here a little bit because I have some notes that I wrote down, and I want to say what I wrote down. I don't want to just talk from the top of my head. I wrote this stuff down for a reason, okay? Like, many times I get directions from the Most High, and I'm just following directions, but I'm like really freaking confused as to why he would have me doing something so bizarre. Until later, like, it'll come together and make sense, unless it's something that I'm already like invested in, and then I'll know, like, you know, why he's telling me to do something, or he'll give me like a vision or a dream, or like crazy communication from like the radio, the TV, other people's conversations, the angels. Like, it'll just be like a flood of signs from one thing in particular. That's usually how I'll know what it is that he wants me to, like, you know, pay attention to. In reality, like, HIV is literally the first instance where black people were simultaneously internationally dismembered on a biological level. The crack pandemic did do that, but I don't think in the UK or in Africa or in Canada or in, you know, other countries and cultures were black people affected by crack in the 70s like black Americans, right? HIV now is something that affected black people worldwide all at once, like I said, simultaneously. So while communicating with the Most High, and while he's like telling me what he wants me to say, he is slowly giving me the reasons why he wants me to use this and do this series. I am HIV negative. I know a lot of people are like, why is she doing this? This is not me like trying to tell y'all something when I was saying it. Like, if that was the case, I would come out and say it. Thank God that I am clean right now. Okay, as of today. Anybody who has unprotected intercourse, this is something that, you know, you'll be concerned about. I don't think it went away. I'm not saying we don't have it anymore, but I think we have bigger fish to fry, especially to come. I think a lot more diseases and illnesses are on the way, and I think HIV is just going to be something that's not even like a thing in a few more years. We talked about immunity, and we're going to get into it. We're going to go into each type of immunity. We're going to go into like details, right? Because this is a series, and we're going to talk about it. But I just wanted to first go into this because, like, before the first diagnosis and after the last medicine, the immunity was there, right? We discussed timelines and how from 1873 to 1921 HIV was around before even the first diagnosis. So you have to think, really, and these are estimates. Remember, these are all estimates. We're gauging everything. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is fully understood. And that's what I also found to be more interesting. Like, how is this something that we have so much information about, but this disease is still so anonymous? Like, we still have yet to figure out everything, like, in full detail. Like, we know what sickle cell is. We know where cancer comes from. We know where, like, a common cold comes from. Like, we have the information about it. Even like COVID, like, look how fast we were able to get information about this disease. So I just find it really weird that HIV has been around for the time that it has, and we still are, like, in the dark about so many different things, right? So and I'm just gonna say that I was not there when this thing was found out. I was not in the laboratory, so I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists, but I am looking at the consistencies in the research, and it's suggesting a lot of really weird, crazy stuff. Now, I know you guys are like, what does this have to do with spirituality or religion? And we're gonna get into it. Remember, we discussed this being the first, literally in modern history, the first international dismembering of black people on a biological level, right? Internationally. So remember, we discussed how things that happen in the physical world go on in the spirit world first, and then it eventually trickles down into the physical. Now, I guarantee if you ask anyone who that was diagnosed with HIV 1 or 2 from 96 to 2008, right? Let's gauge that window. Was that 12 years? So from 1996 to 2008, and I'm using those years because 1996 was the first antiviral retroviral drug that they came out with, and then 2008 they were two other advances, like major big breakthroughs, right? Also in 2012, but I'm saying 8 because I know I graduated high school in 2008, and there were a lot of positive things going on for black people. Now, I'm saying black people for the sake of relatability, because black people are affected the most, right, by this thing in multiple socioeconomic backgrounds. Like, we're at the top of the list as being victims to HIV. So that's why I'm saying black people, but really as a human race, because we're not the only ones affected, we're just the most, right? So that's important. You got to keep that in mind. Remember, we're talking about spiritual warfare. So I'm gonna always bring back and like reel us back in to how it connects to the cosmos, and how it connects to the Most High, and how it connects to how a people, not just black people, just a human race, mainly black people, but just us as people, how it relates to our destruction in the spirit world, and then here in the physical. A lot of us don't even know how to make the connection. So that's why I'm bringing up time frame and, really trying to get you guys to look at other factors so you can start piecing the puzzles together yourself, because I'm just here with my own realization and my own connection with the Most High and my own conceptualization of all of this. Like, you can put your own pieces together and come up with your own puzzle, right? This is just me expressing my downloads, and tuning in with the Most High and just expressing what it is that we communicate, right? What he communicates to me. So we can all, like I said before, do our own research. We have our own understanding of this thing, and no one's like right or wrong about something that you may observe and you see the consistencies. Like, I cannot tell you if you're right or wrong. I'm not a doctor, I'm not the Most High, but I am a lifelong scholar. So if you are a reader or someone who studies or someone who seeks the truth, then, we'll be able to have this conversation all day long. But a lot of people are going to be like, please, whatever, right? So that's up to you. That you following the information and putting it out there, that's your choice. I'm doing what I'm being instructed to do, okay? Now, another thing that I found to be interesting is that there was like tons of published research on the relationship between religion and HIV. There are tons of communities abroad, Caribbean communities, that have their own reservations about HIV in regards to God. We kind of talked about this yesterday, and I just wanted to bring it back up to kind of just remind people that even in the conscious community, there are reasons why people feel that people are being diagnosed with HIV. Now, the reason why that's important is because the religious community and the conscious community, they overlap. These are two different communities, but they overlap, with God and the consciousness of operating out of love being the focal point and the main function that these groups operate out of. Now, I consider myself to be someone a part of the conscious community, and I've been around many people from many different Caribbean backgrounds, and I haven't had this conversation with anyone, but I do know some people and how they would understand this condition. Like I said, with the first diagnosis to the first medicine, the natural immunity has always been there, but that was something that needed to be discovered over time, right? We had to be in the thick of the thing to actually come across these natural immunities. So, every time we do a segment and we're doing a series, I'm going to leave you guys with a question, and you could use this as your own way to kind of like figure out if I'm crazy, right? Or just really to come up with your own answers, and maybe you would be inclined to engage with me. You could always call in, to the podcast. Well, this is a recording. This is not a live, but we can always communicate. I'm going to start doing a lot more in regards to the setup and the footage and how I communicate and engage, and how I'm presenting the podcast on other platforms. Just give me a minute. But remember, I told you guys, since the phone got stolen, like, this is what we're doing. We're gonna invest way more time, because that's what God told me to do, and I'm his servant, and I'm obedient. Okay, so yeah, that's that. But yeah, I just wanted to just make the connection between the spirit world and HIV before we move forward. Like I said, people of religious and conscious communities have their reservations about HIV, and there's tons of research. You can go out there and look. It's a lot of information on different communities as it relates to HIV, especially the conscious and religious communities that are abroad. Now, if you feel like I'm reaching, you don't have to listen. You can choose not to engage or interact, okay? That's fine. That would be fine with me. But before I go, I really wanted to just say that the reason why this, or how the connection between HIV and the spirit world, is our biological genetic makeup. Okay? Us the same thing that connects us to one another on an international scale is the same thing that connects HIV to the spirit world, and that is your DNA. Okay, your DNA. It's a chain, it's a link, whatever you want to call it, but it is what connects us to the spirit world. Okay, it's what's manifesting down into the physical from the spirit world. Okay, so if you wanted to know why this even connects, that is why. If that doesn't make sense to you, you probably are not going to get anything I'm going to say moving forward in the segments after, or if you keep listening, it'll probably click later. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, because it's like one of those days. The air is booming in here. I'm freaking freezing, so I'm gonna like get out of here, okay? But I do love y'all, and I hope y'all enjoyed your Friday. I hope all is well. Hope y'all are drinking your water, eating your fruit, sipping your tea, minding your business, okay? Eating good, y'all. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get up out of here. Yeah. All right. Peace.